Hey there, Jordan Chariton, live Status Coup. Sorry for being late. Don't ever go to the vet. Don't ever go to the vet without an appointment. That's all I have to say. I was just at the vet waiting for at least an hour and 15 minutes. Fortunately, Millie, my wonderful dog, is okay. I don't know if you're aware, but to get your dog's teeth cleaned, they have to get blood work first to then put them under anesthesia. It's a whole to do. So I had to go get her blood work. They told me, yeah, just walk in, but failed to tell me that I'd have to wait an hour and 15 minutes. I digress. Smash the like button. It's right under the live video. The more people that press like, the more people that will see. Reminder, hour and a half from now, our monthly members call at 7 o'clock Eastern time. So if you are not a member yet and want to join the Zoom call, get going. StatusCoup.com/join. Become a member for as low as $5 a month. And you'll get the Zoom link a little bit before 7 o'clock Eastern time. It's a lot of fun, and maybe we'll have some news to share with our members tonight. A little behind the scenes. But anyway, let's get to business. Joining me now is Matthew Hoh. You are a candidate, Green Party candidate for the Senate there in North Carolina. Before it became cool to interview you, I interviewed you. Now everybody's interviewing you, so I'm glad that Status Coup had you. I think we were one of the first, but that's
you were. Thank you. Yeah.
So for people that aren't aware, Matthew, former Afghanistan war veteran who blew the whistle basically, among other things, and got out of there and didn't finish your service. So we could get back into that a little bit later. So you kind of became known for that and decided to run for Senate in North Carolina under the Green Party. You got thousands of more signatures than were requested, that were necessary. But recently, the Democratic Party of North Carolina started what seemed to be dirty tricks, but then kind of evolved into seems more not legal thing. Yeah. So let's just set it up because we do have the audio. But can you kind of describe, after you got the signatures, what your uphill battle has been and what Democratic Party operatives started to try?
Right. And thanks for having me back on. And I'm glad to hear your dog is okay. And the whole thing about their teeth cleaning, needing blood work. I've got one who has some bad teeth rescue. So yeah, I experience that every time we have to go. So I feel for your wallet, man. No, thank you for having me back on. And we collected 22,500 signatures, which was more than the 13,865 that were required. Of that 22,500 number, almost 16,000 were verified. So we were almost 2,100 signatures over our threshold requirement. We presented those signatures on June 1st to the State Board of Elections. After a month, and on the very last day possible, they denied our certification on this, on the theory that since there are irregularities were present within the unverified or non-validated signatures, that means there could potentially be more irregularities. And so they would need more time to investigate. But because they had taken the full 30 days allowed to them by the state, by state statute, they didn't have any more time to investigate. So since they couldn't investigate, they couldn't certify. So very much a specious reasoning, a circular type reasoning. But in addition to what we were dealing with the State Board of Elections, and that was a completely brazen and partisan decision by the State Board of Elections. It was presented without evidence. We were given no due process. And that issue continues with them. And that's the focus of the lawsuit we entered today in federal court. On the other, adjacent to that, running parallel to that, we've got like basically a two-front battle going on here. After we turned in our signatures to the State Board of Elections, the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee and the Elias Law Group came down here to North Carolina to begin the process of challenging us. And they received from the state, and as we allege in our lawsuit today, working with the executive agency of the governor, which of course is supposedly nonpartisan. But what we see have happened is possibly the governor's office worked with Elias law firm and a Democratic senatorial campaign to coordinate the receipt and then the use of our petition records in order to call people who sign these petitions to get them to remove their names off the ballot. While they are doing this, they are calling people, they're texting people, they're showing up at people's homes, and making the argument that the Green Party committed fraud, which we did not. So they are smearing us and using something that had no evidence or basis behind it. They were also saying, of course, the usual tropes. The Green Party is good for the Republicans, as well as fear mongering over abortion is in the balance. Please don't do anything that will jeopardize abortion. But on top of all that, and this is where you get to the illegality and the fraud that was actually committed by someone in this whole scenario here, it was that the Elias Law Group and the DSCC, when they were calling, texting people, showing up at their homes, they were saying, sometimes they would say they're the Democratic Party. Other times they would refuse to say who they were. But they were also telling people that they were the Green Party. And we have that on audio and we could play that, right? But they also, too, we know that they were saying to people that they were from the State Board of Elections or that they were from the Secretary of State's office, all in this attempt to deliberately mislead people, lie to them, in order to get them to remove their names from the petitions they had signed.
And let's play that audio so people could hear what Matthew's referring to.
You're calling to confirm whether or not I signed a petition. Mass, who are you calling with? What organization? Oh, is this the Green Party?
Yes.
You're with the Green Party?
Yes, and we have you listed as wanting to get the candidates on the North Carolina ballot. Did you sign that petition?
So you were calling as a representative of the Green Party?
As a volunteer, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I did sign it.
Okay, and would you say you strongly support it or just somewhat support it?
I mean, I don't think I'd sign something unless I strongly support it.
Okay, well, thank you for confirming. Animal participation in elections is important if the Green Party is on the ballot. It will take votes away from Democrats, giving Republicans a huge advantage that will help them win North Carolina in 2022 and 2024. There's far too much at stake to let this happen. Are you interested in asking to have your name removed from this petition or leave it as is?
I'm confused. So if you're with the Green Party, why are you asking to remove? I'm sorry?
Yes, I totally.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not funny, but boy, was that guy pretty bad.
Yeah.
At impersonating the Green Party, and props to the caller who got the call and could sniff through the bullshit. But okay, so that happened, which the press actually covered. So kudos to the local press there. So you were still removed by the Board of Elections by a 3-2 vote, three Democrats, and now you have filed a lawsuit. So tell me, who is the lawsuit against, and what is the relief you're seeking?
Right. So the lawsuit is against the North Carolina State Board of Elections. The plaintiffs are the North Carolina Green Party, myself, Michael Trudeau, who's running for state Senate as a Green Party candidate, and a number of people who either petitioned with us or signed a petition. And the lawsuit is pretty straightforward. And I encourage people to go to our website and look at it. You can find it on Twitter as well or Facebook. The lawsuit is asking the courts to step in, certify us, and then place our nominated candidates on the ballot in November. I mean, we don't have any faith or trust that, because what we're seeing right now too is continued bad faith by the State Board of Elections. They had, for example, just give you an idea of what we're talking about here. They had a hearing today, the board of the State Board of Elections. They had an entire presentation about us. They did not tell us about it. They did not inform our attorney about it. And they certainly didn't even put it on the agenda. We only found out about it by some journalists who were attending for another reason. So the State Board of Elections continues to do things that are meant to inhibit us or prevent our due process in this experience, as well as to do things such as smear us. The State Board of Elections has said that the North Carolina Green Party is under investigation for fraud as part of a criminal investigation. That's not true. It's simply not true. Yet they have said that so that the headlines read that way. So this is you have the State Board of Elections on one side, you have the Elias Law Firm and the DSCC on the other, but over that, like I said earlier, is the coordination of it all through the governor's office. I mean, this is clearly a partisan operation to keep us off the ballot, and so going to federal court is our attempt to remedy that.
And could you talk about that? The governor is Democrat, the legislature is Republican. You believe that the governor's office has been involved in with the senatorial campaign to kind of.
One thing we've seen, Jordan, is that so early in June, a representative of the governor's office from their legal department, I believe, filed a request to the State Board of Elections for our petition records. About a week or so later, when the Elias Law Group shows up down here in North Carolina, they use more or less the same exact language in their request for records that the governor's office did. Pretty much just a copy and paste job. And we've seen other things as well, too, that kind of indicate there is that type of collusion. But, what this is basically is the governor's office, talking to Elias and, hey, we've got this done already. Here you go. Just take it from us. And the governor's office, of course, an executive agency, supposedly nonpartisan, not supposed to be involved in things like this, let alone coordinating with, right, and collaborating with the most powerful law firm the Democratic Party has.
Right. And if the once that tape came out showing that the Democratic Party was impersonating Green Party officials, if the Board of Elections was, reputable, wouldn't they have realized, oh yeah, every candidate, some of the signatures don't match or something like that, but that clearly there was an effort here to defraud your candidacy and keep you on the ballot. What is their rationale after that audio came out showing that the Democratic Party? I mean, I think I know the answer, but
they've not really said much. They've not really said much about it at all. I mean, these are their friends. The Elias Law Group, everyone who's working at the State Board of Elections in the general counsel's office or the three Democrats on the board, they hope to God that if they do a good job with this, if they prove their chops, they show their loyalty to the Democratic Party, that if the Democrats lose the governorship in 2024, they can then get a job with Elias Law Group, right? Because they showed how loyal they were. I mean, this is why these people are on the board. They're not on the board because they are election law experts or because they really have a passion for democracy. I mean, that might be true. But the reality is, why are they on this board, and why are they on positions of senior leadership within the State Board of Elections, positions appointed by the governor's office? Because when it comes down to something like this, they can be counted upon to make the right decision for the party. Certainly not for the people, not by the law, not for the Constitution, et cetera, but for the party. We heard today that the response from the State Board of Elections about these types of things we were talking about, the deliberate fraud by the Elias Law Group and the DSCC, is just canvassing. That's what they call it. They say, oh, they're just canvassing. There's nothing we can really do about it. The thing about this is that we were out there for months. We collected tens of thousands of signatures. We talked to tens of thousands more people. There are 100 counties in North Carolina. None of the 100 counties or the State Board of Elections during our petitioning process ever received a complaint about us. No one ever called and said, hey, these guys are up to something shady. And again, we must have been in contact with at least 50,000 people, probably more. And the only time we have a complaint filed against us is when the Elias Law Group comes down here in North Carolina in June. Juxtapose that with that almost as soon as the Elias Law Group is down here, people start calling the State Board of Elections to file complaints against them. Yet we're the ones who are under investigation for fraud, et cetera. I mean, we know the situation here. Look, you wade into the alligator pond, you're going to get bit. And so we understand that and we accept it. And this is a fight that we are happy for. It's a good fight. It's a necessary fight. I'd rather be campaigning. I'd rather be talking about healthcare and housing and education and climate and the war on drugs. I'd rather be discussing those things as opposed to, hey, Matt, when did you stop committing fraud? You know, I mean, so they're controlling the narrative here, but this is a good fight. That's a worthwhile fight that we're very happy to take on.
And can you kind of talk about, obviously it's an uphill climb for a Green Party candidate in anywhere nationally, but North Carolina Senate, but their tale is, oh, you were just going to pull votes away from the Democrat. But I don't know, you were getting some media attention. Do you have a feeling that you could be competitive in this race? And that's partially why, not just that they felt you were going to take votes away from the Democrats, but that they felt you could be competitive, and they don't want a Green Party candidate to have a decent showing, because obviously that gains momentum for third parties.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've said this all along. Look, I know if this is a fair election, all things being equal or level, we would win. I have no doubt about that. But we are up against a Leviathan here. We are up against the reality of the post Citizens United. Things were bad before Citizens United. They're really bad now. The Sherry Beasley campaign, the Democratic nominee, they're pulling in $83,000 a day. We haven't seen Ted Budd's numbers yet for this quarter, but the amount of money. But if all things were equal, I have no doubt we would win. And what threatens the Democratic Party in all this, and by extension, the Republicans too, because they don't like to see independents or third parties be successful if they feel it endangers them, is two things, Jordan. One is our people went out there and they performed. They put together a plan, they organized, they executed, and they got tens of thousands of signatures, and they were met with tremendous enthusiasm from the public, from the voters who want something different, who want multi-party democracy, who want a voice on the ballot that represents them and their interests. And on the other side of that is that point that the Democrats are deathly afraid of having a party on the ballot that represents working class people and middle class people and as well, whose issues of healthcare, housing, jobs, climate, war on drugs, all those issues are a real threat to the profits of the biggest donors to the Democratic Party and to the Republican Party. So, I mean, those are the two things that scares them. One, the fact that we did this and we were met with such enthusiasm. And two, the fact that the people we represent, their issues, single payer healthcare, rent control, livable wages, things like that are a very big danger to the profits of the donors of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party.
And, what's interesting to me also is that they're saying that they're going to pull votes away. You're going to pull votes away from the Democrats, but they're not actually running on anything to convince potential people that would vote for you to vote for them. You see how that works? It's always like blame the voter, but they're not doing anything. I mean, yes, the Republican legislature, it's tough with a Republican legislature, a Democratic governor. I don't know North Carolina politics that well, but I'm pretty sure the Democratic governor there is probably not pushing for, really hard for increase of the minimum wage, still during a pandemic.
There's none of that, Jordan. And there's just another op-ed actually in our state newspaper here about Governor Cooper being a potential 2024 or 2028 Democratic presidential nominee. So he certainly had, and we've been hearing that for a while now. So he's certainly got that running in his head that he needs to do everything correctly for the Democratic Party establishment to line up behind him if he wants any hope of that. Look, for decades now, the Democrats have been saying to their supposed constituency that be happy with the crumbs you have, otherwise you won't get anything. That's been their argument. Be happy with the crumbs you're getting because the Republicans won't give you anything. And so that's been the attitude. That's that smugness that exists, the arrogance of their power that exists. We just had a CNBC just stated that North Carolina is the best state in the United States to do business. And, the reason for that is, And they had an accompanying article that said that's because, and it's a bipartisan success story, how Democrats and Republicans put aside their differences to make North Carolina the best state for business. You go and you look at what was reported last year in an Oxfam study. North Carolina is the worst state in the nation for workers' rights. More than half of our school kids qualify for free lunch. 1 in 4 adults in North Carolina are in collections for medical debt. Collections for medical debt. Not in debt, but in collections for it, right? So the reason why this is the best state for business is because we don't pay fair wages here. We don't pay just wages here. We don't pay wages that people can live on. And that's why it's so good for business. And that's the bipartisan success story that, both parties, scramble towards. And again, to hell with the people we say we support, they can live off the crumbs we give them.
Well, I guess you must have missed the memo.
But I have to say we're capitalist. And that's just the way it is. But I have to say we're capitalist. And that's just the way it is.
Throwing in our sound effects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things I say all the time, when people say, why do you think you should run? And it's like as if I'm violating something here. Besides their entitlement and their feeling that they don't have to earn votes. And a lot of it comes back to that. I'm a socialist. What would I be doing in a capitalist party?
Right.
It makes no sense. Yeah.
And by the way, Lauren Steiner said, call her. She had some details.
Okay. All right.
Last
Lauren's
question.
a good friend of mine. She's been super supportive and thanks, Lauren. I will.
Last question while I have you here. It's remarkable. I don't know if you've noticed that the Build Back Better is back in the news. A stripped down Build Back Better that maybe President Manchin will accept. It would have $300 billion towards clean energy, which would all be, neoliberal tax incentives. $200 billion towards Obamacare premiums and lowering prescription drugs, which I just spoke with Michael Lighty about, and it's not particularly a real lowering. But anyway, I ask you this because you served in Afghanistan, obviously respect your service and everybody else, but that was a major boondoggle. We're giving a lot of money to Ukraine. I mean, I'm all for humanitarian aid, but it just seems like every other day there's, billions of dollars more going to Ukraine. As a vet, I wonder what you think that we're getting so little towards the climate inferno and healthcare and other things. But I mean, no problem. We could print money for Ukraine and various other military needs.
Oh, it's an enormous grift. It's one big racket to ensure the corporations and the banks get theirs, while again crumbs to the workers. And it's just not the military. And I mean, certainly I could talk to you all night about the military industrial complex. We're going to see an $850 billion Pentagon budget, which is only one portion of the overall military budget. When you add in nuclear weapons, you add in the intelligence agencies, you add in the $300 billion a year for Veterans Affairs, and you add in the almost $200 billion a year we spend on interest and debt payments for past military spending and war spending, you're looking at about $1.4 trillion in military spending every year. But that's just one piece of it. That doesn't even touch then the money we put into big agriculture, the money we put into fossil fuels, the money we put into the banks, all these subsidies, right? As well as the tax codes, the regulations, the laws that make sure those people win, or those, I shouldn't say people because they're not, those corporations and banks win while the people lose. So no, it's maddening. It's anger, but it is, this is essentially what people have always told it was. And people have been saying this for a long time. And we can just continue to see this, the continual squeezing of everything to the top at the expense of people in lower and middle incomes. And at some point it's going to collapse. And the question is whether or not we can head that off and reverse it before it does. But, you add in the climate, and this is where how people talk about it being an existential threat to our society. And if we continue with the status quo, which is a deadly status quo for tens of millions of people, it's deadly. I mean, our for-profit healthcare system kills people. We know this. If we continue this, the ruin that is coming will probably be here faster than any of us expected to.
Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're a busy man. Sorry that you are dealing with this. Very interesting that we're having hearings to save democracy.
Right.
But apparently Democrats only care about democracy when it has to do with Trump. If it has to do with a third party challenger. So
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Where can people find out more if you're looking for support for your lawsuit or other things?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jordan. Please go to MatthewHohforSenate.org. Last name spelled HOH. So MatthewHohforSenate.org. Please donate. Please encourage others to donate. We are in a real David versus Goliath fight here. We are up against the Democratic Party machine, both against their most powerful law firm and the state of North Carolina. We need people's help. I can't be more sincere about that. So please donate and encourage other people to donate. And then also, too, please support people like Jordan, because if we don't have folks like him, we don't have media like Jordan, we can't communicate, we can't educate, we can't link ourselves together. And, people like Jordan or my friend Lauren, they're the very nucleus of what our movement needs. So please support them as well.
Well, Matthew, that's a great segue, because we're 1 hour away from our Status Coup members call. So if you're not a member yet, we're going to spill some tea that regular YouTube viewers don't know. StatusCoup.com/join. Become a member for as low as $5 a month. And you'll get the link through Zoom. You don't have to be on camera. You could just listen if you don't want. So we'll be doing our members call at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Usually go for an hour or two. Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate it. We'll stay in touch.
Jordan. Take care, man.
Absolutely. All right. We got more to do. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Smash that like button. Thumbs up. Share this live stream. The more people that press like, the more people that will see this live stream. Super chats are welcome. I will read them towards the end. And we did get a new member, so let me give a little shout out. Welcome. Michael just signed up as a member. Thank you, Michael. We hope to see you on the members call. So you'll get an email with the Zoom link. And also patrons also get the member link. So looking forward to it. Let's go. Last time we only had 40 people. Let's break 100 tonight. StatusCoup.com/join. I answer your questions, comments, complaints, whatever you want. So there's a couple stories, but I want to start. I know this has been covered elsewhere, but I need to cover this. Oh, I forgot. Holy shit. So much to do. We're hitting the road. Reminder, we're hitting the road, roughly speaking, on Monday, if all goes well. I have spent all day reaching out to people. It's not easy to book interviews in multiple states. You'll find out. So we're hitting the road for Inflation Nation. I've booked a couple interviews so far. We're going to start out in Pennsylvania, probably make our way to Ohio, probably then West Virginia, maybe Kentucky. Who knows? Maybe some other states too. It depends how many people chip in to support our reporting. But we're looking for stories. So if you're in those states, Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, you got a story, inflation crushing you. If you were already screwed before inflation hit, you're rationing things. I just interviewed a young woman, a single mother, who is now getting off her meds because she could afford the meds. She cannot afford the doctor who prescribes the meds due to costs going up elsewhere. So if you have a story, even if you don't think it's that big, email us, info@statuscoup.com, and we'll interview you in the flesh on the ground like we love to do. So we'll be probably hitting the road on Monday. Just waiting to hear back from a few people. Email us if you have a story, info@statuscoup.com. So honestly, I thought that the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade was major and would help the Democrats compete when we thought the Democrats were dead in November. But I didn't think it would be the thing that saved the House for the Democrats because the Democrats are corrupt and haven't done anything really for the American people and have more excuses than, a child who doesn't want to do homework. But I got to tell you, these Republicans are, and how extreme they are, might actually save the Democrats. I mean, it's really getting beyond the pale. Obviously, most of you know, and thank you. Keep those super chats coming. Whoa, Jordan, I can give you 1,500 today. I just don't know how to do it. Humorous. Holy cow. Email me, info@statuscoup.com. Put in the subject line humorous. info@statuscoup.com. Put in the subject line humorous, and we'll let you know how to do it. Thank you so much. That's very generous, really generous. If you could support us that way, I really appreciate it. Obviously, you guys have heard about this 10-year-old girl in Ohio who was raped. And because Ohio has a heartbeat law that has no exceptions for rape or incest, the only exception, it's kind of vague, is medical. If there's risk to the mother's life, but rape and incest are not covered in Ohio. She had to go to Indiana to get an abortion. Again, this is a 10-year-old girl. Of course, immediately the right wing pretended that this was a lie. This was false. Colin, do you have the clip, Tucker Carlson, him talking about this?
To Joe Biden, other human beings only exist to the extent they can be used for partisan ends, so it shouldn't surprise you that on Friday he used the story of a 10-year-old rape victim to push for more abortion. According to Joe Biden, the laws in Ohio forced a 10-year-old rape victim to flee to Indiana to get that abortion. Now, the White House never vetted the facts of that story, as the President of the United States saying things that no one checked, but the facts didn't make any sense. On Monday, for example, the Attorney General of Ohio said there would not be a reason for this child to flee to Ohio in the first place. Watch.
Ohio's heartbeat law has a medical emergency exception, broader than just the life of the mother. This young girl, if she exists and if this horrible thing actually happened to her, it breaks my heart to think about it, she did not have to leave Ohio to find treatment.
So the obvious headline here was not about abortion. It was about the crime committed against a child. Who raped a 10-year-old? That was our first question. Nobody seemed interested at all in.
Yeah, breaks my heart. Well, I don't know. The Attorney General might want to read the law in Ohio because it doesn't have an exception unless the mother is dying. That's the Ohio law. Rape, incest, not covered. And I was speaking with Nina Turner about it. That was to save face. That the Attorney General went on Tucker Carlson's show to save face because the law is obviously obscene. But in this case, they were trying to kind of hoodwink you into thinking, oh, no, she would have been covered in Ohio. No, she wouldn't have. Read the law. There's no exceptions for rape or incest, whether you're 25 or 10 years old. So that's why she had to go to Indiana. Interestingly enough, if you could put the article back up, the Tucker article, after he said all the politicians are lying about this, he said on his show Tuesday, he covered it on Wednesday. Oh, he also said, where is the rapist? Well, on Wednesday, the rapist was actually arrested. And interestingly enough, Tucker Carlson covered it again, but didn't correct himself. Just said, what did he say after the news broke that the rapist had been arrested? It shouldn't surprise you that on Friday, he used the story of a 10-year-old rape victim to push for more abortion, he told viewers Wednesday. Now the White House never vetted the facts of that story. The President of the United States was saying things no one checked, but the facts didn't make any sense. So let's be clear. The suspect, the rapist, was arrested on Wednesday before Tucker Carlson came on the air. So Tucker Carlson, instead of just correcting it, because he asked on Tuesday, where's the rapist? He was arrested. Tucker Carlson didn't correct. I mean, I don't like Biden, but Biden was correct in evoking the story. So, yeah, how about that? It's all kind of a liberal Democratic plot to push more abortion. Then when the rapist is arrested, we're not going to correct ourselves. And we're going to keep saying, oh, Biden made it up. And cue, maybe tonight, the leftists that go on Tucker Carlson and don't mention this to him or that he should correct it. But I digress. So there was Tucker Carlson. There was also Jim Jordan, the Ohio senator and Trump sycophant. He deleted a tweet calling the story of a 10-year-old girl being raped another lie after authorities had charged the man. Another lie. Another lie. And this is the post-truth. This is the post-truth Republican Party, which shows you how pathetic the Democratic Party is, that they can't beat these fuckers. These people that when a 10-year-old girl is raped, she has to go to another state to get an abortion. They're gaslighting you. Oh, no, this is a lie. It's not true. And they did that because the actual law is so immoral that so soon after Roe v. Wade being overturned, I think they're realizing I think in their heart, they know this is radical. I mean, the no exception. I mean, frankly, I'm pro-choice. Government should be out of this business in the first place. But when you take it a step further and you're passing laws, not even in the case of rape or incest, I think they know how extreme that is. They're doing it for political reasons because that's what the Christian fundamentalist lunatic base wants. But in practice, when you have the image of a 10-year-old, even though we don't know who she is, all they could do was say they're making this up. Or all the attorney general of Ohio could do was go on Tucker Carlson show and lie and say, I don't know why she had to go to Indiana. Our law allows her to stay here and get an abortion. No, it does not. This is why I don't criticize people for going on Tucker Carlson's show. I'd gladly go on Tucker Carlson's show. And you want to know something? I wouldn't be invited back because I wouldn't just sit there and nod like a lapdog, like some folks on the left do. Oh, but they make lefty arguments. They go on there to bash the Democratic Party to Tucker Carlson's Fox show. That's what they do. Now, I'm all for bashing the Democratic Party. I'm not for being a useful idiot for Tucker Carlson. So if I went on there, I might challenge him on a couple things, like his great replacement theory, like pretending that a 10-year-old wasn't raped and forced to go to Indiana and then not correcting it, like calling immigrants invaders, just to name a few. Just to name a few things. So you got Tucker Carlson pretending it didn't happen. You got Jim Jordan pretending it didn't happen, then deleting his tweet. Then you have, Colin, I put this in there, Senator James Lankford, a Republican of Oklahoma. He just blocked an attempt by Democrats to ban states from outlawing women traveling to another state to get an abortion. If you have this tweet, Colin, it's down there in the thing. He just blocked states from outlawing women traveling to another state to get an abortion. Lankford has previously testified. That he thinks 13-year-old girls can consent to sex. Yes, I think they can. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. So this guy from Oklahoma is blocking a bill to not criminalize women who travel out of state to another state, because that was the whole thing, remember? The Supreme Court said it's a state issue. And Republicans, after Roe was overturned, a lot of those Republicans said, well, what's the big deal? They could go to another state. Yeah, it was never about states' rights. It's about banning abortion, period. Criminalizing it, period. And now this guy is essentially trying to criminalize women leaving Oklahoma to get an abortion. And by the way, reminder, sign up as a Status Coup member now, because the email for the members call is about to go out. So your chance to get the link to our members only Zoom call, you got 10 minutes before the email goes out with the Zoom link. So sign up, statuscoup.com/join, support actual on-the-ground reporting. We're hitting the road next week. Inflation Nation. We need your help to fund it. An average reporting trip for us, even to be on the road for a week, costs about $3,000. Gas, hotels, food, equipment. It all adds up. And we're probably going to be on the road for a little bit longer than a week this time. So sign up, and I'm excited. The members call is in less than an hour on Zoom. Usually go for about an hour or two. I'm probably going to have a cocktail or two because I'm stressed. So sign up now, statuscoup.com/join, and you'll get the link. But Colin, I just sent it to you if you could find it now. Let me just read this one more time because it's like so insane. This senator in Oklahoma is blocking an attempt by Republicans to ban states from outlawing women traveling to another state to get an abortion. But he's previously said he thinks 13-year-olds can consent to sex. These people are insane. And I truly think that as this extremism, more and more of this extremism comes out, besides the fact of the terrible impact on women, that's first and foremost, I really think they're saving the Democrats' ass. Because the Democrats, it was looking like in the House, were possibly going to lose 30 seats. And the Republicans are going to take over with a significant majority. But, you know, lying about 10-year-olds being raped, 13-year-olds can consent, now trying to block laws that allow women to travel to other states, but it gets worse. It gets worse. Colin, the tweet about the Indiana Attorney General. So Indiana's Attorney General, remember, this girl left Ohio to go to Indiana, has sent a letter to the governor suggesting he will criminally prosecute the doctor who helped get the 10-year-old rape victim an abortion on grounds of failing to report a termination of pregnancy report. Andre, if you're not getting our emails, email us at info@statuscoup.com. Colin will address that. So you'll get the link. Just email us at info@statuscoup.com. So this attorney general in Indiana now wants to prosecute the doctor who, let me repeat, aborted the fetus of a 10-year-old. If that wasn't gross enough for you, Politico article, National Right to Life official, 10-year-old should have had the baby. I mean, this is not a joke. The 10-year-old Ohio girl who crossed the state lines to receive an abortion in Indiana should have carried her pregnancy to term and would be required to do so under a model law written for state legislatures considering more restrictive abortion measures, according to a general counsel for the National Right to Life. Jim Bopp, an Indiana lawyer who authored the model legislation in advance of the Supreme Court's decision, told Politico on Thursday that his law only provides exception when the pregnant person's life is in danger. She would have had the baby, and as many women who have had babies as a result of rape, we would hope that she would understand the reason and ultimately the benefit of having the child. So let me get this straight. The 10-year-old rape victim who's traumatized for the rest of her life, whose body isn't even developed yet, is going to carry a baby to term, and then what? Who's going to watch the child? The 10-year-old? Or are we going to get babysitters for the mother and the infant? This is some Stone Age shit, folks. This is some Stone Age shit. And you know, I don't want to let Democrats off the hook because they're clearly only running on this now as an excuse and cover for their, I mean, what else can you call it? But servitude to corporations, Wall Street. I mean, the Democratic Party is not your friend, but the Republican Party right now is the Democratic Party's best friend, because this is going to help the Democrats. I don't know if they're going to hang on to the House, but this is going to, honestly, I think even, a lot of those white suburban women who kind of are Republicans, but moved over to the Democrats in 2018. The Democrats won the majority in the House in 2018, in large part because suburban women fled to the Democrats and left Trump. And in 2020, those same voters, most of them voted for Biden. And they were starting to go back to the Republicans. We saw that in Virginia. Terry McAuliffe, the Clintons' BFF, and another corrupt motherfucker. He lost in Virginia. A lot of women, suburban women who had gone for Biden, then switched to Glenn Youngkin, kind of like a pencil geek, sweater vest kind of guy. And I'm telling you, a lot of these suburban women, even if they are not for abortion and are think it should be rare, and even if they potentially support the Supreme Court overturning it and bringing back to the states, they're not to this extreme. Most of these women, when polled, believe there should be exceptions for rape and incest. They would not be for a ban where you're banning women from leaving a state where it's illegal to go to a state where it is legal. Would not be for forcing 10-year-olds to rape victims to have a child. Right now, the Republicans are the Democratic Party's best friend. 100%. Do we have this? Hold on. Let me, Colin, the last link on the live stream, Doc. I want to play this because, as I'm saying, the Democratic Party's only running on this, basically. Let's play. This is the DNC is launching a TV ad in battleground states calling out Republicans' extremism on Roe.
Republicans are celebrating ending a woman's right to choose.
This is a moment for incredible celebration. What a great victory.
And they're not done yet. Mike Pence wants to ban abortion in every state. Mitch McConnell says a national abortion ban is possible. 50 years of women's rights stripped away by the few. But we are the many. We will fight for freedom, and we will not be silenced.
And it's tough, right? I mean, we covered the Democratic Party here about, 60, 70% of the time. I mean, I'm not breaking news that the Republican Party is extreme and corrupt and awful. And, I cover the Republicans a decent amount. I don't think just because we know that the Republicans are awful doesn't mean we should ignore all examples of corruption, extremism, white supremacy. So we cover the Republicans here. Some lefty channels completely ignore Republican corruption and extremism. In my view, minimize Republican extremism. In some cases, even make Republicans out like they're out-lefting the Democrats, which is a joke. But in this case, on one end, I mean, obviously the Democrats are not like friend of women. I mean, Democratic Party hasn't done shit for women. Women still make, 76 cents on the dollar to men. The Democratic Party, I mean, socially, of course, are better than Republicans as far as female reproductive rights, but they haven't exactly, pushed the for true equality economically. Same thing for particularly for Black women, brown women, you get indigenous women. But at this point, I think a lot of voters are going to say, yeah, lesser of two evils. We cannot tolerate this, because this is some Stone Age shit. And by the way, to the people who say, well, the Democrats are smart not to get rid of the filibuster, because if you get rid of the filibuster, you don't think Republicans are going to ban abortion if they get control of Congress and just do away with the filibuster? My answer to that, what makes you think that the Republican Party, emboldened by the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade, all, you know, attorney generals and senators trying to pass laws that would block Oklahoma. You know, if you're in any state where abortion is illegal, criminalize somebody in your state from traveling to a state where it is legal. What makes you think that they give a damn about the filibuster? You think they're going to not toss the filibuster aside and try to ban it nationally? Yeah, I mean, for the next year and a half, they wouldn't be successful because Biden would veto it. But you don't think they're going to try? If they have control of the House, if they have control of the Senate and the House, and then if they have control of the White House, you think the filibuster is going to stop the Republican Party? Because remember, for the Republican Party, this kind of shit, life, which they don't give a shit about outside of the womb, they don't care about your life outside of the womb. You get killed in shootings, doesn't matter. You get killed in classrooms, concerts, movie theaters, they don't give a shit. You got to work 5 jobs, they don't give a shit. But you think they're going to, I mean, it's absurd. It's absurd. They don't care about the filibuster. They don't care about Senate procedure. They don't care about the Constitution. When they have power, they use it, unlike the Democrats. I'm not telling you how to vote. You vote however you want. If you don't want to vote, don't vote. But I'm telling you my analysis. I think that the Republicans, if they keep this shit up, this extreme shit, they might actually bail out the Democratic Party. And the Democrats could potentially, which was unthinkable. A couple weeks ago, Democrats could keep the House. They could lose the Senate, but they could potentially keep both because this is extreme. And aside, other than like Fox News and like most, even Republican voters do not support this extremism. Which, by the way, if that happens, is not good for progressives. It's not good for progressives. Burner, Democrats are getting slaughtered in the midterms, Jordan. Stop coping. Hey, Burner, I'm telling you, polls right now, Fetterman's beating Oz. Murphy is up over J.D. Vance. What was the other race I just saw where the Democrats were winning? There was another Senate race. I think it's going to be a lot closer than you think. Because, again, you just have to look at history. How did the Democrats win back the House in 2018? It was suburban women. It was suburban women who left the Republicans and moved over to the Democrat side because of Trump. 2020, suburban women, again, voted for Biden. Suburban women are not down with this shit. The Democrats should lose. I mean, inflation is at a record level. 9.2% increase last month. It's a record. But I'm telling you, there's more women in this country than men. And I'm pretty sure, even in a lot of these purple states on the congressional level, women are not going to vote for a party that's making 10-year-olds have babies and outlawing exceptions for rape and incest and trying to criminalize women that leave their state. There's some women that are down with that, the pro-lifers, the Christian fundamentalists. But the mass, that's not where they're at. And by the way, to you saying cope with it, Jordan, what are you talking about cope with it? I'm not going to lose any sleep if the Democrats lose power. But I'll tell you what, you could be against the Democrats keeping power, but at the same time, you shouldn't be cheering if Republicans get power because it's going to get, in this case, for women, it is going to get worse. It is going to get worse if Republicans take complete power. For women, it will. And anyone telling you, oh, stop lesser of two evils, this is reality. We're seeing it right now. It will get worse for women if Republicans take complete power. That's not cheering on the Democrats. That is the truth. On abortion, 100%. They're going to try and ban it nationally, and they might be successful. Let me read some super chats. Reminder, The members call starts in a little over a half hour. So if you want to sign up as a member, you still got a little time. Sign up, statuscoup.com/join. Let me read some super chats here. New YouTube member, Teal Vision. Welcome, Teal. Appreciate it. Fly Chomper Fly, $2. You would not believe it. YouTube just pinged 2 devices. Wow, you got notifications from YouTube for us on 2 devices? Normally, you don't get 1 notification. That's awesome. Thank you for the super chat. Humorous, $5. Stop voting for parties. Vote for people that can get the damn job done right. Time to throw all these old generic fools out. That's why I've said we really need an Occupy Congress. I'd say Occupy Congress, Occupy the White House. We had Occupy Wall Street over a decade ago. It didn't burn down Wall Street, but it was a start. Why can't, at this point, with everything going on, climate, healthcare, reproductive rights, endless wars, when are the people going to say enough's enough? Create a mass tent city on the Capitol and start boycotting things economically. By the way, I just got word an Amazon worker died in a warehouse in New Jersey, and Amazon told the folks, get back to work. So I'll have to get more information on that. Thank you, Humorous. Chris, $4.99. Thanks for highlighting these Dem cheating third-party candidates. Howe and Hoh in 1 week. Keep it up. Yes, and can I just point out, not to pat myself on the shoulder. Colin, come on for a second. All these fuckers, Colin, that keep saying, "Oh, Jordan's anti-third party," and "Oh, because he tells the truth about that grifter and liar Nick Brana, he's just a Democrat trying to take down the third parties." Who has interviewed more third-party candidates over the last, let's say, 3 months than me? Can you name someone?
No, I haven't even seen that many interviews with third-party candidates in general, even from people who don't interview, mainstream Dems or anything like that.
I recall interviewing Matthew Hoh at least 2 months ago, and I've interviewed him a few times. I recall interviewing Jonathan Howe, a libertarian who was running in AOC's district, at least 4 times because he got fucked too. I interviewed an independent running in Kentucky. God, there's a playlist. We have a playlist. I've interviewed at least 4 or 5 third-party candidates, but apparently I'm anti-third party. I don't get that. Guess I was anti-third party when I covered Jill Stein's campaign on the road in 2016. By the way, Jank fought me and didn't want me to go cover Jill Stein. It's just interesting that I get that rap. So apparently if you cover grifters critically and you expose grifters who are not really creating a real third party, but just grifting, that makes you a Dem operative. Interesting. Loner Weirdo, £3. Thank you, Loner Weirdo. Big Dumb Animal, $10. Always appreciate what the coup do. Looking forward to the member call tonight. Me too. Looking forward to it. Thank you. Humorous, $5. Fox News totally blows. They need to go out of business. Nothing but propaganda and lies. As somebody who worked there a long, long time ago, unfortunately, they're not going out of business. Unfortunately, they're not. But there's certainly propaganda. That I'll tell you. Kyle, $5. Make this $5 into $10 by playing Colin's most important election of our live supercut again. We might have to do that, Colin, if you can get that loaded. By the way, that video should be fucking viral, but we are on YouTube, unfortunately, so nothing we do goes viral. But Colin did a bang-up job, so maybe we'll play that at the end. Double K, $99.99. Holy cow. Thank you so much, Double K. That's very kind. This subject drives me crazy, waiting 50 years for bodily autonomy equality. It should drive you crazy. And another thing that should drive you crazy is the sheer hypocrisy of it all. I mean, all politicians are hypocrites, every last one of them. But these are the same people saying we want small government. Get government out of our lives. Small government? Yeah, let's prosecute the doctor who aborted a fetus of a 10-year-old rape victim. Let's prosecute him. Oh, let's set laws so that 10-year-old can't leave Ohio to go to a state where it's legal. That's small government. Humorous, $10. That decision should be totally up to a woman. A baby is a parasite until it breathes its first breath. I think the woman should decide whether or not she wants to carry that parasite to term or not. Absolutely. But in this case, a 10-year-old is a child. That 10-year-old can't really decide. In this case, the parent has to decide. A 10-year-old doesn't have the capacity to make, to even know what happened, really. She's probably beyond traumatized. But you're absolutely right. Andre Gale, $5. I'm a member, but not getting the emails. Where can I get this looked into? Email us at info@statuscoup.com and we'll fix that. Humorous, $5. This is so important, Jordan. You really need to do a road trip on this alone. Well, I'm pretty sure on the road trip we're about to take, this subject will come up for sure. And we'll probably end up doing an interview too on it. Humorous, another $5. I remember The Handmaid's Tale. That person's absolutely right. We're turning into a police state and enslaving our women. That sucks. Not completely wrong. Another $5 from Humorous. If you're supporting any part of the GOP, you're a traitor to the United States of America. Honestly, I don't tell people how to vote. And I do understand to a certain extent why people got sucked into Trump. In 2016, I was on the road. I interviewed people. A lot of them were good people that were just, the Democrats had left them to fend for themselves for the last 30 years. The Democrats had offshored their jobs to other countries. The Democrats didn't jail any bankers. Obama allowed the banks to foreclose. And, when you have a phony populist saying, I'm going to fix it, I'm bringing the jobs back, they got sucked into that. So I could and of course, there were plenty of racists too that like Trump. But at this point, yeah, I really wonder what the rationale is. And this whole notion, by the way, that, Republicans are becoming the party of the working class. If this is doing for the working class, women are part of the working class, and they are literally forcing them, including 10-year-olds, if they can, carry children to term after they were raped. Tony, $2. Colin is amazing. I just want to give him some love. Thank you. And he thanks you. Double K, $19.99. Thank you, Double K. Robin Bennett, $10. Thank you, Robin. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys and girls, for all the super chats very much. Remember, the members call is in a half hour. So if you sign up as a member, you might not get the email, but last minute people that sign up as a member, we will have your email because we get your email. So we will, if we get a bunch of signups now, we will email you the link for the Zoom.
If you sign up as a member, I just posted the link to it in the members section of Discord. So as soon as you become a member, you have access to the Discord. So if, I already sent the email out, but you can just click there or just email info@StatusCoup and I'll send you the link.
And can you tell people how they join the Discord? Because some people were a little confused, I guess.
Yeah, if you're a member on the news site or if you're already signed up as a member, just go to the member section and here, I'll share my screen real quick. Give me just a second. I'll show you guys. Okay, so that doesn't work. It's going to look janky because this is the admin view. But once you're a member on the website, you just highlight your mouse over the member part here and click on member only content. And once you do that, you can just click this big old Discord button there, and that'll get you linked to our Discord.
So the member site, StatusCoupMember.com, right?
Yes, StatusCoupMember.com, or you could just do StatusCoup.com/join, and that'll take you to that new member site as well.
Fantastic. Thank you. Before I go, we're going to play This is the most important election of our lifetime video that Colin did a good job on. We're also going to play some sound effects just for fun.
Enough is enough.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
But I have to say we're capitalist. And that's just the way it is.
Not a joke. Not a joke.
Joe Biden, who is a friend of mine and a very decent person. Joe Biden, who is a friend of mine and a very
bing, 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 bing. They're losers. They're just losers. They're losers. They're just losers. They're losers. They're just losers.
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
I really mean it. I genuinely mean it. I really mean it.
It's always a psyop. Fucking psyop. It's always a psyop.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Ladies.
I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words. I'm very.
Sorry, I wanted to have some fun there. Oh, Kyrie is Oliver. Thank you for the $5. Just came in. Humorous, $5. I hope I sent you money the proper way on your website, Jordan. I think it went through GoFundMe or something like that. Good luck on your trip. We will definitely check. But please, Humorous, email me, info@statuscoup.com, because I want to thank you personally for all the generous donations you've been making. PB and Jeffy, $5. Been watching since the Flint with Detroit news, and Jordan has always been a reliable source. What happened to the lady that used to stream with Jordan? Which one? Tina still streams. She's on once a week. Jen isn't with us anymore. She left last year. But Tina is with us, and we might have some new hosts joining in the next few weeks. So stay tuned for that.
I was going to say, yeah, GoFundMe if you want to look at that.
Oh, hold on. GoFundMe, we just got a pretty big donation, apparently. GoFundMe, Status Coup. Hold on. Holy cow! Holy cow! William Conan, $1,500. Oh, my Lord. Colin, can you show it? We haven't really been pushing the GoFundMe for a while because we've been trying to build up membership. But we still have a GoFundMe, and that is unbelievably generous of you. That will definitely help us cover some of the costs of this trip. Takes a huge load off my back because it's not easy to do reporting and trying to fundraise at the same time. Thank you so much, William. Please email us, info@statuscoup.com. I'd love to thank you personally for that incredibly generous amount. And yeah, anybody could donate to our GoFundMe. We're also on PayPal. That's paypal.me/statuscoup. paypal.me/statuscoup. All right, folks, I'm going to go to the bathroom, relax for 20 minutes, and then we'll join you on the members call at 7 o'clock. If you have any issues where you're not getting the link, but you're a member or a patron, email us at info@statuscoup.com. I will not be live tomorrow. Ron Placone will be live at 5 o'clock Eastern, joined by Lauren Ashcraft, who ran for Congress a year or two ago. So Ron and Lauren will be live tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern. So that will be exciting. And then we will be on the road probably starting Monday. So if you have not joined our text list, join our text list. That's statuscoup.com/text. So you'll get text messages when we're live on the road, because YouTube only gives about 2 or 3 notifications a day. So make sure you sign up for our text list so you'll get a text message when we're live on the road. That's statuscoup.com/text. Doesn't cost you anything, and you'll get a text message when we're live. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. I will see you guys on the members call in 20 minutes. Peace.